Hello students, so very well, good morning and welcome to you. Now today here we are here with another session of integration, right? So this is going to be the part 2 and here we are going to again solve the questions from R.D Sharma only for applied maths, right? So it's a very important lecture and as I said in the part 1 also you would have seen we are starting with the basic concepts of integration. So we are moving in sequence students, right? So this is part 2. So in the last class we mostly focused on the power rule and everything, the basic concepts. I hope you all would have understood it. Now we are going to move on with part 2. Now again here we are going to have the basic concept set so that from the very starting, if you are a new learner, then also you are able to pick up the concepts and understand the integration very well. So let's start with this. So now the first question for today is 3x plus root x plus 4 root x plus 5. Now it's a very simple question because it is based on just one rule, that is power rule, right? So now let's evaluate it. So if we go with the integral of 3x, so we can easily distribute it into four functions, right? That is the law algebra we can say for addition, okay? So we can easily distribute it into the four integrals and we can find the integral of the individual functions and then we can simply add this. Now let's move on with this. So if we take 3 outside because it's a constant, right? You can remember and note down this simple property of integration, that if any function is there and which is multiplied with the constant k, then always you can take k outside and find the integral of the function. That's a very simple and the basic concept, and almost in 99% questions you will be using it. So here also we have, then again for root x we can write x raised to half dx, which will be going with the power rule, and then we have again 4 root x, so 4 will take out, and again if I just say let's put it for half so that it will be easy to apply the power rule, and then for 5 again 5 integral of dx. Everywhere we have taken the constant out, remember. Okay, now let's start with this. So let's have a quick recap of the power rule again. So x raised to n का integral क्या होता है? Simply x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1 plus c. So that is our power rule for integration. Okay, now let's start with this. So if we apply the power rule in the first integral, what we will get? X raised to 2 upon 2 because n is 1. That's a very simple thing. Now what will be the power rule for the next integral? Now here n is half. So it will be x raised to half plus 1 upon half plus 1. Simple rule. Now for the next 4 will be outside and again the same thing is there. Half plus 1 upon half plus 1. And for the last one 5. And the integral is just a constant 1. So whenever we have to integrate 1, it's always the answer is x, right? So always the integral of dx is x. So here we get 5x and the whole constant for all the four integrals combined to give one integration constant c, right? So that this is our final answer. We can simply simplify and write it down. So which will give us half plus 1 is 3 by 2. So this will become x raised to 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2. 3 by 2 can be written as 2 by 3. Same is here. So we will get 4 into 2 by 3 and x raised to 3 by 2 and 5x plus c. So that is our final answer. So it is simply based on power rule and it's a good question for 1 mark to 2 mark, right? Now let's move on to the next. Now here it is. Now again we have the integrals, three integrals functions we can make. So here we have 2 raised to x 1, then 5 upon 1 upon x we can write, right? Just now I told you you can take constant outside and then write the function, and here I can write x raised to minus 1 by 3. So three different formulae will be used now. So 2 raised to x, what is the integral of a raised to x, students? I told you in the last class, a raised to x upon log x, a, right? We divide here plus c. Now what is the integral of 1 upon x here? 1 upon x ka integral is log x, right? Very good. So we are going to use different, and then for the last we are going to use again power rule. X raised to n is x raised to n plus 1 upon n plus 1. So we are going to have three integrals and three formulae, but it is just simply formula based. The बिल्कुल basic question है 1 mark का. So here what will you get? 2 raised to x upon log 2. And here what will you get? 5 log x. And here what will you get? X raised to minus 1 by 3 plus 1 upon minus 1 by 3 plus 1. And the constant will be single constant C1 plus C2 plus C3. If you take for the three integrals, they all combine to give you C. So no need to write three integrals. Okay, so now 2 raised to x upon log 2, 5 log x minus. Now let's calculate this. Minus 1 by 3 plus 1. What will it be? 2 by 3. So it will become 3 by 2 and x raised to 2 by 3 plus c. So this is your final answer. So we have three integrals though, but it's simply formula based. Right? Now let's move on to the next. Now root x into ax square plus bx plus c. Now let's make this. Now for this, there is no quotient rule or no product rule in the integration till now, right? So what we will do, we will simply open the bracket and then we will use power rule. Only one formula, okay? Now let's make it. Now if I multiply it, what will I get? X raised to 2 plus half. What will get here? 1 plus half. What will I get here? C root x dx, right? So that is important here. So we are simply multiplying and get it done, right? So now let's make it. So a x raised to 5 by 2 plus, let's make it three integrals. So b, we take it outside, so this will be 3 by 2 dx plus c x raised to half dx. So we have separated it out into three integrals, okay? Now let's make it a. Now we are going to use a simple power rule. Again, I think now power rule will be clear to all. सबको formula याद हो गया power rule का. Power rule is used in lot of questions, students. Okay, that should be clear to everyone. Clear? Now let's make it. So let's make it now. 5 by 2 plus 1 upon 5 by 2 plus 1. Now b. And these many steps are enough for exams also. I am giving you as per the marking scheme of the board only the steps. Okay, no need to add anything, right? So you can simply write it in this way and get full marks. Clear? Now this becomes plus C. Now let's make the final call. So 5 by 2 plus 1 is 7 by 2. So this will become 2 by 7a x raised to 7 by 2 plus 3 by 2 plus 1 is 5 by 2. So this becomes 2 by 5 b x raised to 5 by 2. Now half plus 1 is 3 by 2. So this becomes 2 by 3 c x raised to 3 by 2 plus c. So this is our final call, right? So this is what we have. The questions are not tough. They seems to be, but they are simply on the basic concepts. If you have not understood integration till now, please start watching these videos. This will really help you out in understanding the integration. Okay, now let's move on. Now 2 minus 3x, 3 plus 2x and 1 minus 2x. Three factors are there in multiplication. Now see, we have no product rule. So we have to simply multiply this first and then we can integrate it. Okay, let's start the multiplication. So what will you get? 6 plus 4x minus 9x minus 6x square. Let's multiply the first two brackets. Then I will multiply it with the third after simplifying it. So what will you get? 6 minus 5x minus 6x square into 1 minus 2x. Now let's multiply this. So I get 6 minus 5x minus 6x square if I multiply with 1. And when I multiply it with minus 2x, the sign will change now. So minus 12x plus 10x square plus 12x cube. This is what I am getting. Okay, now let's simplify it and then simply apply the power rule. Now the constant term 6 we have. For the x we have minus 17x. For squares we have 4x square. And for the cube we have again a single term. Now I can simply split this into four different integrals and get the answer. Okay, now let's 6 dx minus 17x dx plus 4 x square dx plus 12 x cube dx. Right, so this is what we are getting. Now let's move on with this. 6x after integration minus 17x square by 2 plus 4x cube by 3 plus 12x raised to 4 by 4. So this is our final answer. Which formula have we used? We have used a simple formula, that is the power rule of integration. That is, the powers are increased by 1. Right? and then in the denominator also we get the increased power. Correct? So let's see this. Is it clear to everyone? You can take the LCM and do it if you want, otherwise you can leave it here simply, right? No problem with that. So if you can reduce it, you can reduce it also, right? 12 and 4 ko you can divide. Is it clear to all? Sure. Now let's move on to the next question, students. Okay, so I hope you all have done this. Now let's move on to the next. Now this seems to be having five functions now. And what is this? XM and all. So they have given you the possible number of expressions that we make using a variable x and the constant m. Okay, so m is a constant here, x is a variable here. Now we can easily separate it into five integrals. Okay, x raised to m dx plus m raised to x dx plus m upon x dx plus x raised to m dx plus xm dx. Right? Now here remember very important thing, x is a variable, m is a constant. So we can take 1 upon m outside, x dx plus m raised to x. Direct formula we can apply. We will write it later. Now here we can take m outside and 1 upon x dx. Here we can use the power rule to integrate it. And here again we take m outside and the integral of x. Right? So these are the possible expressions with the constant and a variable. Now let's start doing this. 1 upon m. Now power rule I think is clear to everyone. We will increase the power by 1 and in the denominator the increased power. Now, now m raised to x, it is a raised to x dx. Already we have done it before also. A raised to x upon log a is the integral of a raised to x. So it will be m raised to x upon log m. Correct? Now what is the integral of 1 upon x dx? Integral of 1 upon x dx is log x. Right? So we are going to simply write m into log x. X raised to m, the power rule, m plus 1 upon m plus 1 simply. And here we get m, and then again x ko you will integrate using the power rule. So this is our final answer. Right? Easily you can check. And this is important for basic learning because you can have in place of m any constant, and this will be used a lot. So these are the possible expressions that you will be doing ahead, right? Now let's do the next. Root x minus 1 upon root x whole square. So here first we will apply the formula for a minus b whole square. So what's the formula for a minus b whole square? A square plus b square minus 2ab. Now let's move on with this formula first and make the integral. So x root x ka square is x plus 1 upon root x ka square is 1 upon x minus 2ab. So 2ab, right? So simply I am writing the steps. So now this becomes x plus 1 upon x minus 2. So this is your integral now. So now we are going to separate it into three separate integrals and then we are going to do it. Correct? Now x ka integral by power rule we get x square by 2. 1 upon x ka integral we just did it in the last question also log x. And here we get minus 2x plus c because the integral of dx is simply x, nothing else. So this is how we do the questions in a very simple way. Remember it. Okay, now next do. Now 1 plus x whole cube upon root x. Now again we don't have any question rule with us. So we have to use the identity again in this question. So which is a plus b whole cube. Okay, so what will you get on using this identity? A cube plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square. Okay, so that is what the identity is. Now let's resubstitute it here. So what will you get? A cube plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3ab square. Okay, because a is 1, that's why we are getting the terms only in x. Right? 1 cube is 1. So now let's separate the functions. This is known as separating the denominator. So let's do it. And then we can find the individual integral of the functions. Correct? So now this is what we have. Now it's all about the power rule. This question is entirely based on that. That is power rule. Now let's move on to that. So here what we will get? X raised to minus half. Here what we will get? X raised to, now let's make it directly to the 4. integrals. Okay, now. Okay. So 3 minus half is how much? 5 by 2. Yes. Now 3 outside. X minus half is half. Again 3 outside. X square minus half is 3 by 2. Okay, now let's make up the powers and everything. So out what will you get? X raised to minus half, which will be x raised to half upon half. So it becomes 2 root x. Again the power rule only. So in this question we are going to use everywhere the power rule. X raised to n wala formula. Right? So this is what I have here with me. Okay, now x raised to 5 by 2, x raised to 7 by 2 by 7 by 2. So this will become 2 by 7 on reciprocal. Now 3, x raised to 3 by 2, and this will be also 3 by 2. Right? Now 3. Now 3 by 2 का में 1 add किया तो 5 by 2. Now let's rewrite again by arranging the terms. So 2 root x. Okay? So we are just simplifying and putting it up. 3 will get cut. So we get here 2. And here we get 6 by 5. Just check everyone. Is it clear to all? Yes. Just work it out. We get 2 root x, we get 2 by 7, we get 6 by 5, and we get 2x raised to 3 by 2 plus c. Right? So it is based on simple power rule. I think power rule mein abhi sab perfect ho gaya, right? Now let's move on to the next. Now here we have x square plus exponential log x plus e by 2 raised to x. Now again this is a very simple question. Just one simple logic, a recap. Exponential log x is what? If you have learned log and exponents, right, logarithmic chapter, you are aware of this. So this is simply x. So it becomes a very, very simple question now. So you will separate it into 3 integrals. And then easily you can integrate it. So x square ka integral, x cube by 3. Exponential log x is x only. So what is the integral of x? X square by 2. Right. Now e by 2 whole raised to x. So here the simple thing is that e by 2 is like a constant. So you will be using this formula a raised to x dx. So what's the formula? A raised to x upon log a. So this formula you are going to use here. So it will become e by 2 raised to x upon log of e by 2 plus c. And that will be our final answer. No need of any simplification. If you want, you can write log e by 2 as log e minus log 2. Not needed, right? Because that will remain in the denominator only. Clear to all? Let's move on to the next. Now, x raised to e. Now, we are focusing on exponential constant, which will be a lot used by you. Now, e is a constant as we all know. So, here we are going to again split it into 3 integrals. And then we are going to make the individual integrals of all. Now x raised to e is like x raised to n. Okay, so we are again going to use a power rule here. Now exponential x ka integral is same as the exponential x derivative because we receive the same function. So derivative or integral दोनों exponential x का exponential x ही होता है. So that is what we have here. Exponential e is a constant. So take the constant out. What is the integral of dx? X. So this is our final answer. That's it. We need not take LCM and all. This is directly at what we can write. Clear? So this is simple questions, 1 mark, right? But you have to be clear with the basic concept. Now, again we have this evaluation. So root x, x cube minus 2 upon x dx. So what you have to do? You have to simply think of what can be done. Just saying, we have to open the brackets. Okay, fine. Now root x का मतलब होता है x raised to half. So what will you get here? 3 plus half. Second integral में what will you get? Root x is x raised to half. और हमने इसको 2 by x से multiply करना है. Okay, let's write one more step. So what will you get here? 3 plus half. Right. Now what will you get here? Half or minus 1. So what will you get? 2x raised to minus half. Let's put the integral sign here. Okay. Now let's make it. X raised to half. Use the power rule. What will you get here? Minus 2 out. X raised to minus half. Use the power rule again. Let's write the one more final step and conclude our answer. So 7 by 2 plus 1 is 9 by 2. So this becomes 2 by 9. X raised to 9 by 2. So minus 2. X raised to minus half plus 1 will be what? Root x. And here also what we will get? Half. So half will be 2. So plus c. So this is our final answer. Just check out and tell me, is it clear to all? Sure. Good. Now let's move on to the next. Now 1 upon root x, 1 plus 1 upon x. So again we have only one alternate because we don't have product rule. The only thing is that we can do is multiply and open the brackets. Okay, now let's move on. 1 by root x into 1, it will remain the same. And let's separate it into two integrals as well. Root x into x is 3 by 2. Right? We are just using the law of exponents everywhere. Now let's make it. This is x raised to minus half dx. And this will be x raised to minus 3 by 2 dx. Okay, now minus half का integral अभी आप सबको याद हो गया होगा. That is, we have half upon half. And here what do we have? Minus 3 by 2 plus 1. That will give you minus half upon minus half. So this will give you 2 root x minus 2 upon root x. It's a very good answer. These type of questions do come in exam. Okay, so that's important MCQ, very important MCQ, right? So this is what we have. Now let's move on to the next. Now what to do with this? Quotient है, powers इतने बड़े हैं. Can anyone think of any idea what we can do? Yes. So here what we are going to do? We are going to factorize the numerator, students, because in the denominator we have got the factorized term. How do you analyze? Using the identity. So x raised to 6. Let's do the factorization here. Okay, and then we will resubstitute it there. So now x raised to 6 ko what can I write? X square raised to 3 plus 1 raised to 3. So we are going to use the identity of a cube plus b cube here. So a cube plus b cube is what? A plus b. A raised to 2 plus 1 raised to 2 minus ab. This is what we have here, right? So now we are going to evaluate this and put it here. So here we are going to use a cube plus b cube identity. That is a plus b, a square plus b square minus ab. Right? Now let's put it here. So here what we will get? X square plus 1, x raised to 4 plus 1 minus x square. So this one factor will cancel out. That is x square plus 1. And now we are going to integrate it individually. Okay, so that is what we have here. Now again power rule is to be used here. So x raised to 5 upon 5. Now here we have x only, and here again the power rule. So that is our final answer. So this is how we are integrating the basic questions using the identities and all. Right? Clear?